Good evening and welcome to a special, very special Comics Week in Review C2E2 edition. I'm Steve McGauley and this is Nick Duran and this is Ed Garrett. And as you can see, we are all in the same room at the same time, which is actually the first time it's ever happened.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
Oh my god, this is what you guys look like?
I know, right? And my undigital self.
I thought you were both much shorter. It's amazing.
I thought Ed was 22.
Ed gained 25 years in a matter of days.
You're being kind, but I'll take that.
Yes.
All right, so we have been having a blast at C2E2. We are recording this on Saturday night after some drinking and some delicious Chicago-style pizza, and we have just been overwhelmed with data and people and meeting all sorts of random people, including running into Ming from Comic Book Men as we were just walking up here to record the show. So
we mean the real Ming, not Joe Gagel.
Not Joe Gagel, the real Ming from Comic Book Men. So it has been really cool. So meeting so many different people. Let's start with today. So who did we start off meeting today? Snyder.
Mud Snyder with Jock.
Yeah. So okay, we can start Friday. We'll start Friday then. So yeah. Friday we started with Jock. For me, met Jock, got Witches signed. You want to grab my books, or do you have your stack of books too?
I don't. Mine are.
Yeah. So let's just go through what Ike was able to bring here. So the reason this is the first time we've all been in the same room, I'm from St. Louis. He's from Chicago.
I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina.
So we all do this on the road, from our homes. And so finally getting to be in one place has been amazing and so exciting. So as you can see, lots of Scotty Young variants here. That was today. But yeah, so let's start with Friday. Jock. It was Jock. Got my Witches signed. So cool to meet all of these artists and to meet some really cool people. That was my first time meeting Jock. He was really nice.
Yeah, Jock was awesome. We now know that he prefers just flat beers, as he called them, like Heineken, so whatever that means.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation, yeah.
I usually, for some reason, if you read my article, all I talk about with people is comics and beer. I don't know how it gets to beer so quick. I don't even like the stuff.
Right, yeah. Yeah, nobody likes it, as we were drinking one of Chicago's finest anti-hero, as you can't actually buy. What's the beer? They have a special beer made for C2E2. Right?
Galaxy Hero.
Galaxy Hero.
Made with
You're
Galaxy
going for that. I've been hitting on Diet Cokes myself.
Yeah, he's still being healthy over here. This guy's lost a ton of weight.
That is a very cheap date.
You're right. This doesn't take much. Some Diet Coke. Clothes are coming off.
So you're right. We met a lot of great people. Some we've already known. Some we're meeting more. People who have been just fantastic. Like today, I had the privilege of talking to Gail Simone and Amanda Connor, the two nicest ladies in comics.
Absolutely wonderful people. And we're hoping to get our interview with Gail tomorrow. We're hoping to do that. The lines have been outstanding and just outrageous for quite a few of the creators. Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor have not had a free moment since they've been here. Gail Simone most of the time has huge lines. Mark Waid has some huge lines. We've had a chance to talk to each of these guys. Just haven't been able to clear out the time to do interviews yet, so we're still crossing our fingers and hoping to do things. With Palmiotti, I'm not even sure we'll get to talk. We may be doing that by email a little bit later. We did get his personal email, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's email him right now. Hey, Jimmy, come on up. We're in the same hotel. Come on up and join the podcast.
I am going to be emailing with some questions later tonight when I get back to my hotel. But we're still hoping to get some of those interviews in. We have had interviews with Joshua Williamson, who does Nailbiter and Ghosted and quite a few other books. Just really good stuff. We've also interviewed Ed Brisson, who did Sheltered, which is a series that's just finished, and he has The Mantle, which is coming out very soon. And several other things coming up. We had a chance to talk with Brian Buccellato, who, with Francis Manipool, presently does Detective, has done The Flash. And Brian has a new book coming out called Sons of the Devil, which started as a Kickstarter a couple of years ago that I contributed to. So we got a lot going on here. There's a lot of really nice people we've got here.
And forgive us for being completely unorganized here, as we literally said we're going to sit down, we're going to set it up, and we're just going to start recording. So we've kind of been off the wall, and we're kind of just geeking out because we've met so many cool people, and we just constantly keep running into people, like trying to hail an Uber, and Gail Simone's standing next to us talking to Ed here while I'm trying to catch the Uber guy to pick us up. So it's been...
And while everybody else is talking to Ming, Matt Kent comes by and gets on the elevator.
Yeah, I'm talking to Ming, and then he's like, dude, Matt Kent just got in the elevator. I was like, son of a bitch. Like you can't keep up with everything. So note to self for future people that are coming to C2E2, it is worth it to stay in the Hyatt attached. So that would be my best advice I could give you coming to stay here. Fork it up and pay to stay in this lovely hotel that we're staying in today. So with that being said, we kind of buried the lead a little bit as to probably the biggest news so far that's come out of C2E2. And yesterday you guys were in a panel where this news broke. So I wasn't here. I was on my flight on my way here. So why don't you guys explain to me how that went down?
The DC panel had a lot of different creators in there. They were telling a lot of the books that were coming up. Really good, and mostly it was not spoilery. They weren't going to tell you a whole lot of stuff. They got to the Q&A, and some folks started to get up. And then... Yeah.
And they started to get up, and Jimmy
Palmiotti, yeah.
Palmiotti. Sorry, I'm bad.
You always butcher that name.
I butcher just his name. I get some other ones. I can do Chip. Oh man!
Now you can't say Chip's name.
It's camera right. So, anyways, people were out the door, and Jimmy just started chirping. I'm like, "You guys are gonna miss something." And the way he was doing it, and I even confirmed this with him when I talked to him today in line. It sounded like he was totally BSing them, and he started saying, we got some big news, some earth-shattering news that's coming out, and they just look at him like, yeah, whatever, jackass, and walked out. And then...
And Brian Azzarello comes up at the very end of this. He lives in the area. He had not been part of the panel.
Incognito. He was sitting there the whole time. He had this like goofy hat on and a coat up. You couldn't even tell who he was.
So he gets up and he says, I have two letters and a number for you. DK3, and the room exploded when he started talking about Dark Knight 3, and he's working with Frank Miller. This book already has a cover. Frank Miller got on Twitter for the first time since 2011 to say, I think my silence has been deafening, something like that.
No, it's that I hope my silence is deafening.
Yeah.
He's badass.
So that's huge news that's come out of there. So yeah, all you folks that left early, sorry about that.
Stay. You are not better than the Q&A.
Yeah, and my dumb ass is like sitting in a taxi cab. I'm like, have my computer up, like tethered to my phone, and you're like geeking out on Slack. You're like, my god, it's DK3.
Yeah, I was live tweeting the whole session, so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so if you want to know the latest of what's really happening, follow Ed Garrett, follow myself, follow Nick. You are what's your Twitter? It's XX.
It's X Barry X Allen X. It's basically Barry Allen with an X at each end and an X in the middle.
Yeah,
and it is not an adult cosplay site.
No.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm at Stephen McGauley, and you are at
Danger _Duran DORAN.
And I'm trying to get most of it at least retweeted through the TM Stash Twitter handle for those that just follow that. But it's just really easier for us to just do it on our personal accounts for now. But I've been trying to keep it up, and we'll have most of it on the site as soon as we get a chance to catch our breath, much less eat. Has been just a struggle with everything that's going on here. So.
Yeah, the reason for all the X's in my handle, actually, I wanted Barry Allen, and Barry Allen was taken, and my son, who was probably junior high at the time, said, well, just put some X's around it. Like, oh, okay.
Now it makes sense. He's been a lot. He was in junior high.
Yeah, so there we go. But either that or just still in high school, but one or the other.
So speaking of Dark Knight 3,
he was at that state of mind where X was the first letter that came to his mind.
Of course.
Sorry,
I'm getting us back on track. So Dark Knight 3, and what is the title?
Oh gosh, I'll have to look.
It is The Master Race.
There you go.
The Master Race. Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. Do we know
Superman, Batman? It involves Superman. Oh, it looks bad.
Yeah,
when is it coming?
I heard fall.
So
which sounds amazing too.
It does. But if there's already a cover, I would believe it would come in the fall.
I would imagine it have to be coming soon. Most of the things that we've seen, as far as them showing us images of different panels of different books and covers, have only taken us through June, July, and of getting an August here or there. So just giving us a name for something, I'd have to imagine it's got to be September, October area.
And they gave some hints for Batman. We'll come back to that a little bit later. But they're giving some hints as what's happening. And a couple of panels, folks have actually gotten to read Batman 40 a few days ago.
So at every one of Zack Snyder's panels thus far, he has been letting a reader read 40. And has pretty much said, you can come up to my table at any time, and I will let you read. Yeah.
Now the trick is
none of us have had a chance to read it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. It's just the lines. It's just like literally you can see it's just like a stapled together. It looks like a terrible paper you turned in high school to your teacher. For those of you that still actually remember turning in physical papers like stapled and shit.
It does. And it's the printing, from what I saw from the distance, I don't even think it was printed that well. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it looks like a Word doc.
But everyone who's read it has come away deeply moved, really impressed.
Some guy today just got on his knees and just started bowing to him.
Yeah.
Just giving him the Wayne's World.
Now, they did not address the rumor that's out there on the internet that where a page was leaked that shows who's going to be in the mecha suit. I don't think we need to spoil it for you right now. You can certainly find that anywhere.
Like Snyder said, he goes, if you want a spoiler, if you want to go out and find a spoiler, and you're into that, good for you. But he doesn't like to be spoiled, and I think we should respect all of our fans who don't like it.
Now, he did say that Greg Capullo really thinks it's funny that people are referring to this thing as the bunny suit. And even made a couple of cracks about it when he's going through some more slides. That was at the panel today.
Oh, man.
But he did also say that there is a suit within the suit. Now, what that means, we'll have to find out. But apparently there is a suit within the suit.
Do we learn this in 40?
That I don't know. But they did say that whatever happens in 40 is going to end that arc at the Free Comic Book Day book on Saturday. So you got Wednesday ending the arc, and on Saturday, go get your Free Comic Book Day book because it starts whatever the new reality is going to be here. So the Free Comic Book Day book is going to have a lot more meaning even than what you've seen in the past. They're going to have Divergence, and it's going to be really big for Superman, for Batman. It's going to kick off some things with the Darkseid Anti-Monitor War. So get to your comic shop. It's free, and it's always great. Free Comic Book Day is the greatest day of the year if you love comics. Most of your comic shops will have cosplay contests going on, a whole lot of other things going on, book signings, artists there, and free books.
Free books.
And this one you will want to get.
Definitely.
I think if you guys send us enough emails and comments saying we want to see Ed dress up as Perry White again, we might be able to do that.
Right.
There's a cosplay I did about 2 years ago.
Skinny Perry White.
Yeah, and I was about 70 pounds heavier back then. Thank you, Jenny Craig. The only cosplay I've ever done was Perry White because it was the only cosplay an old guy like me and as big as I was at the time could do, and my kids were after me to cosplay, so I did that one time. Haven't cosplayed here. Set up the nice T-shirts.
Very nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Yeah, if we ever decide to get those actually pressed, we'll start selling them on the website.
These are just dark T-shirt transfer you can get at Wally World.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it the cheap way. It's expensive. There's a lot of colors there. It's a really expensive printed shirt. So if you want it, let us know, and we'll maybe
make
find
one
a
for
way
you.
to do it. All right. Well, back to that was pretty much Friday was like the DC day.
Yeah.
So
and there was also a Dynamite panel.
And I again was not there.
Yeah.
Tell me the news.
This is the big event for Dynamite this year. Gail Simone is writing the main series and is coordinating all of the tie-ins for Swords of Sorrow. And this brings together every major female character in the Dynamite universe, regardless of the time period they're in and the world that they're on. So you've got Red Sonja, Jennifer Blood, Vampirella, Deja Thoris, Jungle Girl, and I'm missing someone in there. In the middle. Kato, the version of Kato that's female. and I think I'm still missing a couple of characters. And they're bringing in all-female writers, including Nancy Collins, who years ago did Swamp Thing, now is doing a great run on Vampirella. If you're not checking that out, you should. And a lot of other really good writers. So the way they're going to run this thing is it'll be one book a week, so they're not trying to drain your wallet. So you'll have 1 week will be the main Swords of Sorrow title by Gail Simone, and then you'll have the 3 or 4 weeks following will be the tie-ins, and then you'll come back the next month to repeat the cycle for 6 months. So that's going to be pretty cool. They also had Mark Waid talking about Justice Inc. The Avenger, which was a character from years ago that,
cool.
he said he'd been wanting to write this character for 40 years. And this is a guy, it's really strange. He lost his wife and kids to the mob. He had some strange accident happen to him where his facial muscles were paralyzed, but it also made his skin moldable so he could mold his face into the shape of anybody else's face and become them. And he set up a thing where if you felt like someone had wronged you, you would go into this little alleyway in this remote place on Bleecker Street and knock on a door. The only thing on the door says justice, and they would help you out. And so he loves that, and that's coming up.
That's gonna be cool.
It's going to be cool. And Dynamite has made an agreement with the Ian Fleming estate to do a James Bond comic book.
I didn't even tell me that.
Yeah. Now, it won't necessarily have all the villains from the movies because they're not making the deal with the movies, but it'll have any of the characters that were in the books will be in their comic, and that's coming up later. So,
wicked.
Dynamite's got a lot of stuff coming out.
That is super cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Oh, Tim Seeley's got a...
Go ahead.
Tim Seeley's coming out with Chaos, Alice Cooper Chaos.
That's right, where Alice Cooper's the good guy.
Yeah, we walked in towards kind of in the middle of that. So
yeah.
We can't give you too much information. It looks cool. He said it's about as heavy metal as... It's the most heavy metal comic book made, in his opinion. And he said his dad would be proud of him.
That's awesome. Anything else Friday?
I think that's the main stuff.
The Snyder Q&A was pretty cool. The guy is phenomenal. He's here for the fans. He really is.
And he just went up, thanked the fans, and went straight to Q&A for the entire session. You know, most of these sessions, they have at least a little presentation that may go anywhere from 15 minutes to 30, and then take some Q&A. He just went straight to Q&A and was real open about, there were a few things he couldn't spoil, but he said probably maybe a little more than DC marketing might be happy with, but certainly the fans were happy with it.
Yeah, he seems pretty he's like the invincible person, because in the panel today where we had, who was all in that?
You had Brian Buccellato, James Tynan, I'm missing somebody in there, but Scott, and they had someone from DC marketing. They're watching the thing.
Yeah, and who was it? Brian Buccellato? Who was
Brian Buccellato.
He was gonna say something, and then he's like, "Yeah, I don't think I can say that without getting in trouble." But Snyder, you can say that. You can say that. And he's like, "Yeah, I can." He's like, he's the man.
We learned that he had he admitted that he kind of had a FUDC attitude when he started. Like, what are you going to do? Fire me?
I'm an independent.
Don't take that.
And he said,
go ahead, fire me. I'm not taking that out of my book. And he said he's matured a little bit and kind of understands the politics behind it, but he's here for us.
He also talked about at first that he and Greg Capullo did not like each other, did not want to work together, basically were about ready to throw each other out. And now they're very close friends. They get along great. They're big buddies now. But at first, it was not an easy relationship.
My favorite part was his Greg Capullo imitation.
If
any of you've seen Greg Capullo, goatee, just big dude, like huge, and he basically did a Macho Man impression and goes, Greg Capullo, he didn't want a script. He's like, give me the page, Scott.
Yeah, but in the panel today, Snyder was very open to say, like, I'm an independent. I don't necessarily work for DC, so whatever you want done, keep buying those books. If you liked Eternal, keep buying the books, and really, as far as Convergence goes, they pretty much, and as far as Secret Wars goes. all Marvel said was with Secret Wars is that like everyone's gonna die.
Yeah, everyone.
That's like been their go-to. I don't know. DC didn't really have like a go-to. They just kind of dodged around things and didn't say anything.
It sounded like they weren't even necessarily fully in the loop on what's going on.
At least they were playing it off really well.
I think Marvel. It sounds like the Marvel guys have a better idea of what's going on.
Their panel today was so much more organized and kind of well done than DC's. Was just kind of like
what do you know?
Snyder ran the panel and was just like, yeah, they told me I was gonna.
Although I was really glad he was running the panel, it made it more fun.
He was moderating again.
Like, I've never moderated a panel before. I'm usually on the other end, so it was just really.
That's why
goofy.
he moderated his own Q&A earlier the day before.
The one thing though that they kept getting into in the DC panels was saying things like, that it's the fans that have made this a more diverse lineup, and they really talked about how grateful they are that so diverse of titles are getting a shot now at DC, and that's really big because
they also were making excuses as to why they have so many flipping Batman titles.
Yeah.
They're also going out of their way to be like, well, we need this title for kids, we need this title for this person, we need this title for this person. But what it comes down to is the books that are selling are the books that are. They iterated the books that are selling are the things that are going to stay around. So if you liked Eternal, you're going to see more things like Eternal. So the sales numbers rule everything. This is a business. First and foremost, it's a business for DC and Marvel 100%, and Image-ish a little bit, but that's still run by the writers. So, but DC and Marvel, it's big money. They have a ton of money behind these things. People like Snyder don't come cheap. People like Gail Simone don't come cheap.
Right.
So these things, it's a money game.
Here's the good thing,
and that's what I came out of it.
Well, yeah. In 2011, when the New 52 started, it was a house style. Pardon me just a second. But it was a house style for art, a house style for storytelling. And a lot of folks complained about the grim, dark DC universe. Now you're seeing all sorts of kinds of stories being done. Gotham by Midnight's really almost straight up horror. Gotham Academy is a tween book that's actually really well written. And then you've got more of the traditional titles. And so what you're going to see after Convergence are a wide variety of storytelling styles. And their intent is now they want something for everyone. Instead of saying we have a grimdark universe, like it or not, we're going to have Bizarro. We're going to have Batmite. We're going to have Power Girl and Harley for a miniseries, which should be awesome. Mm-hmm. But it's really coming down to they found out that things sell. For example, the March sales for DC, other than Batman Eternal, which sold really well, their best-selling title was the Batman Arkham Knight one, which was a tie into the video game, and below that was Harley Quinn, which is a very different title. They never expected Harley Quinn to sell as well as it has, and they turned loose Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner to just do whatever they want to do, and it turned out people liked it.
All right.
So they're going with the sales, but those sales are driven by you. And whatever you really like, if you support it, you'll see more of it, and that's the big lesson out of DC right now.
Yeah, exactly, and it was very much a big sales pitch for them because, I mean, they've kind of been number 2 to Marvel for a minute here outside of Eternal, kind of keeping them above water there. So I think they're really trying to drive home. This is why we have all these different titles, and this is why you should buy them to really influence what moves forward, because that's really what was the message I got as to what's eventually going to come out of this Convergence is we're dumping all the shit that's not selling, and we are just going to wrap up the titles that's going to sell. And while we're kind of on that topic, so I guess we can kind of touch on a few of the things that came out of today's DC panel, and I tweeted most of it and retweeted it on TM Stash. So if you want to see some covers, I managed to get some covers of Gotham by Midnight that's coming out in June.
That is a spooky cover.
It's real spooky. Definitely go check it out because you're not going to see this on this webcam. It's not going to work from here. The one from July looks like it's going to be number 7. So they showed us a lot of artwork from what we're going to see.
There's a Batman hanging upside down from a blimp, and they said that's going to really play in that there's going to be a blimp over the city, and this Batman's hanging literally upside down from it without a cape, and drops down when there's something to go, and like the bat signal will be shooting downward, so everything's upside down. Where he's not coming up, the bat signal is going down. He's dropping down from the sky and taking care of crime that way.
It was kind of cool to hear Snyder kind of go into depth and details to kind of what was going through their minds when they were talking about these different images. I'm trying to get all of these up, but they're not all displaying.
The bat signals.
This was the coolest one that he talked about. You probably didn't even get to see this. So he showed a bat signal.
And it's bat signals from every era.
Yeah, so these are at Stephen McGauley. These are all on my Twitter 100%. And like I said, you will not be able to see this, but it is a bat signal in the sky with a bunch of other tiny little bat logos. And all of these bat logos are from Batman, like throughout all the years, the different logos that have been shot in the sky. And like you said, to the contrary, the opposite was the other one where it was the bat logo bleeding down into Gotham.
Another thing they talked about a little bit is that we're getting ready for Robin's 75th anniversary. So they hinted at stuff. They really didn't say a whole lot of specifics, but talked about really watching for Dick Grayson in the coming year, since it's his 75th anniversary as Dick Grayson.
Yeah, somebody asked about him, and they said, they're kind of going all out on Dick Grayson coming up.
They also talked a little bit about Tim Drake and sort of hinted at maybe he would be Batman Beyond. And we sort of seen a little of that in Future's End, where he takes that mantle on. I'm still wondering how I feel about Terry McGinnis getting sort of knocked off in Future's End, but Tim Drake would be great in any continuity. And this was the Tim Drake from the future that became Batman Beyond in Future's End. So we'll see if that continues on after Convergence.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun. Is that the bulk? That's the bulk of DC.
It is.
That is really so. And in all reality, DC has kind of taken that limelight a little bit as far as what's happening in the news. Yeah. They really have.
Dark Knight 3.
Dark Knight 3 was like everybody has been talking about at the show. It was by far the biggest announcement. Marvel had a press conference where they're advertising that they're going to announce something big, which I guess when you're advertising that you're announcing something big, it's usually not a good sign that it's actually going to become something big. But it was pretty cool. And what Marvel basically, you want to talk more? You can explain this better than I can.
About S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't
even know. Yeah. So really, they're driving home S.H.I.E.L.D. It's the 50th anniversary of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up. Neither one of us are S.H.I.E.L.D. writers. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Who is it? Haley? Is it Haley Atwell? The girl that plays Agent Carter.
See, this is how much I know about S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's been here and they've been doing a lot of female stuff, and my wife saw it. She said it was phenomenal, that she was really cool.
Now, if you want to know how old I really am,
yes,
I bought the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1 when it came out.
That was with what's his name, right?
Yeah.
Do you still own it?
It's somewhere in the house. Yeah.
That's unreal.
I know.
50th anniversary could be the year to unload it.
Who's the writer?
12 cents. Unreal.
Who's the writer who wore the funky clothes?
Oh my gosh, I can see his face and I can't think of his name right now because he had such psychedelic art on it. And I can't think of his name right now.
He didn't do one. Fury 1. He came on later, right?
Yeah, but he made it really different. I want to say he was on Fury 1, but I can't say that for sure.
I thought Fury 1 was Fury was dying and he took it over.
That sort of introduced Nick Fury took on Steranko. And that was when they introduced. They were first fighting against Scorpio, and that was their first arc. Was that, and it was some of the most psychedelic art in comics at that time. It was a new element.
That's crazy.
For the 50th anniversary, they're having another kind of cover.
They're doing some one shots.
They're doing some really cool one shots. Those 4 was it 4 one shots?
It was 5.
5. We have 5 S.H.I.E.L.D.
5 S.H.I.E.L.D. one-offs.
One shots, and then the biggest news outside of the one-offs were cool. They were badass. Check them out. Like I said, they're all on Twitter. It's too much information for us to take in today. Check us all out on Twitter. We'll post a big thing on our website with all our Twitter handles so you can find us. They announced that Mark Waid, who is a big part of the panel this afternoon for the big Marvel announcement. Yeah, he is. She's huge, but he was awesome, and he said I got the privilege to go through Marvel's archives and dig up four different pages of S.H.I.E.L.D. that were drawn by Jack Kirby himself.
Never seen before.
Yeah,
never published.
Never published. Kirby pages, and one of those is getting turned into the cover of the 50th anniversary of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now,
Big.
now they didn't somehow raise him from the grave, although with Marvel you could believe they
You
would-
had yes, that
But
is
it's
something
just
to take.
older art.
Yes, it is literally older art. Jack Kirby is unfortunately still not with us, but his artwork.
Still, like, it's going to change at one point.
If it was Marvel's way, they would change it. They would try to resurrect him from the dead. That is the Marvel way. No one is dead in the Marvel universe. So it's pretty cool that he was able to dig up some Kirby artwork that hasn't been found, and that they're actually going to get the use for this. I will do everything I can to get my hands on it. We're not sure if it's a very yeah, so he's mimicking all the difficulties that we keep having with,
And we're back.
yeah, with QuickTime, as it keeps falling off the
We'll
radar.
just call them jump cuts and go from there.
Yeah, so if you see some jump cuts, that's because I was drunk when I was doing the the editing. Yeah, but we're not sure with this Kirby cover if it's going to be a variant or if it's going to be the actual cover, or maybe a little bit of both. Who knows with Marvel? It's still kind of up in the air. A lot of the news we're getting is very much way off in the distant future, July, August, and beyond. So it's kind of cool that they are actually breaking a lot of news to us here at C2E2, outside of what we would normally get in more so at San Diego. So, which unfortunately we will not be attending because it's just too hard for us to all get there. But
Not that we don't want it.
yeah, we don't want to, and it's really expensive for us. Chicago is expensive enough as it is. So that was really the big kicker Marvel news as far as I was concerned. Like we said, the panel was still fun today. Can you say his name now?
Yeah, Chip Zdarsky.
There we go.
Chip Zdarsky.
Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah,
Zdarsky.
right.
Zdarsky.
Yeah, Zdarsky. Yeah, it's not
Chip
easy, guys.
Zdarsky.
It's not spelled good. So yeah, he did.
Freaking hilarious.
He did Howard the Duck. It was his first panel because Nick, you talked to him at his booth afterwards. He stole the show as he was flipping hilarious. He made a comment today about how he wanted to. He's like, yeah, I pitched this thing to Marvel about doing this Jabba the Hutt thing, but Jabba's skinny now. And they're like, no, but you can't do that. That just doesn't work. And somebody, it was Mark Waid or somebody, was just
someone
like,
in the crowd.
no,
yelled
Mark Waid said something first, like, oh, we're not gonna let you do anything too. Maybe he said, well, that's kind of stupid. Yeah, we can give him something stupid to do. And some guy in the crowd goes,
Jar Jar Binks.
yeah. And everybody erupted, and he's like, oh,
I want it.
yeah, for real. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe I will do a. Yeah, so if you see a Jar Jar Binks comic ever written by Zdarsky, it's because of the panel today at C2E2. And in all honesty, I hate Jar Jar Binks, for the record.
You'd read it.
But it would be flippin' hilarious because Zdarsky is
funny.
so funny. I bought another copy of Howard the Duck because I didn't bring my variant with me because I'm an idiot. And I couldn't fit all my comic books and all my audio gear into my backpack. So I had to run out and buy this Howard the Duck just because I had to have his autograph after seeing that panel. He's such a funny guy. And if you're not reading Howard the Duck, you need to be reading Howard the Duck because it is awesome.
I forgot about actually the biggest Marvel news. Chip announced when Secret Wars is over and everyone dies, Marvel and DC will become one company. I think he may have been joking.
I think he probably was, but still, that would be fun.
Funny. It was a big news. It was a Marvel's big news thing, and the big news was the S.H.I.E.L.D. thing, and bringing Kirby back onto a cover is huge, but it wasn't anything what we were expecting.
Taking a step back, not a step forward.
Yeah, we were hoping to get some news about Secret Wars, and turns out all we're getting is
Everyone
obviously
will die.
the PR spin that they've been told to say is everyone will die.
Which makes a lot of sense by they're killing off their big characters.
Yep. Now, Scott Snyder, during some of his panels, was talking about having an editor at DC and an editor at Marvel. And he would tell one of them that, he'd say, tell the DC one, well, I'm having trouble getting notes from my editor at Marvel. And then like 5 minutes later, he'd suddenly get a whole bunch of notes. And he'd tell his editor at Marvel, my editor from DC hardly ever calls me. Like 5 minutes later, the editor was calling. What he didn't know was that the two of them were dating, and later got married and had a baby, which Snyder called the ultimate DC Marvel crossover.
It was so awesome.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't know if he should be writing Batman because he's not a very good detective. Oh, it was good stuff. Steven and I also got, now this isn't big news, but this is the first breaking movie news I've ever had, so
Yeah,
I was excited.
I didn't know about this, honestly, and I feel ashamed for not knowing it.
Mallrats 2 is that what you were thinking?
Well, I thought you're gonna stick with Marvel and talk about and mention Lando.
Oh yeah, that's cool too. That's comic news though.
Yeah, comic news. So mention the comic news.
Charles
first.
Soule is doing Lando. I think
A Lando book.
Right.
Our Marvel guy, Joe, is sitting here 2 days later, 3 days later, watching this podcast going, idiots. Idiots. I said this.
I told you guys.
Yeah.
I posted the art. I posted it in Slack. I don't know if... I honestly don't even... I didn't even check. Is it on the website? I don't
know
even
if it's on the website, but it's probably on our Slack account.
I'm sure, but it should be on the website. Holy cow!
Yeah.
So that's
I don't know
cool.
how we missed. I don't know how we missed that. That's our bad. But
then
luckily,
Mallrats?
So Kevin Smith,
This
as a
was
lot
awesome.
of you know, and I honestly think TM Stash
we broke
is
the news.
is the first website to put this out there.
I'm 100% sure of that because we had it on and like.
And I googled, and article's still standing strong. So the big news is he keeps signing more people, and right now he's at 15 out of 18.
For Mallrats 2, 15 of the 18 original cast members are signed on to come back.
But the two big ones that weren't signed on yet is Batfleck, who we're not going to hear about for a while because he's busy doing Batman Superman.
Mm-hmm.
But
He'll get them. They're like best buds.
Randy Svenning, well, I've heard contrary to that lately, but I'm not going to get into that. Brandy Svenning, who's played by Claire Forlani,
Yeah,
is
we've been drinking.
on.
Yeah, she was on.
We're going to look back on these videos sometime and just laugh our socks off here.
Yeah, so not only have we been drinking, but we're also slap happy because we've been up for 13, 14
We've
hours
just been walking around.
running our ass off. I've quadrupled my activity goal according to my my new little
He's got the Apple Watch already.
Yeah. So
anyways,
awful.
so he said I got 15 out of 18 casted. He goes, but I'm gonna let Chicago in on something. On my way here, I was texting away with Claire and said, hey, you want to come on and play? And she said, of course, Kevin. So they have Claire on now. So
literally
now
secured it on the drive over 45 minutes late. Thank you, Kevin Smith, for being 45 minutes late.
That was sarcastic, Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that
if you're
was
watching
not-
this.
that
If
was
you're
not-
watching this, though, holy crap, Kevin Smith watches our podcast.
Right. Yeah, until he sends us like a cease and desist letter or something and tells us he's suing us for using Stash in our comic book. Team
And that's
Stash.
how we'll know you love
Tech
us.
Media Stash. That's what it stands for, Kevin. So please don't sue the shit out of me. It has nothing to do with
Bring it
Secret
on.
Stash. Yeah. I'm sure his Smodcast network makes oogles amounts of money over the zilch.
Hey, everyone will know who we are once it gets in the paper.
There you go.
No
Right?
press is bad press.
And that's right. We will take it. We will take all the press we can get. So
And that's how TM Smash got started.
Right.
Now, one of the things we talked about in between our jump cuts here is that there was some DC stuff. See, I can't even talk, and I've been drinking water. DC stuff that we missed.
Got drunk on Diet Coke.
There you go. But we didn't talk a little bit about Harley and Power Girl. What's happened here is if you got issue 12 of the Harley series, which is really, really cool, there's something weird that happened on page 20 of issue 12 between panels 3 and 4. They sort of went into a dimension, they came out, and suddenly Power Girl's got on a wedding dress, and Harley's got some three-eyed cats. And this entire mini-series, Harley and Power
that
Girl,
was weird.
is what happens in between those two panels.
Yes.
So that's going to be really wild, which really brought me to, let me see if I've got it here, buy it, and I'm going to get this thing signed tomorrow.
Which one's that?
Harley 12.
Oh, I gotta find that one.
Yeah.
Harley 12. Yeah, it's out there.
Now, this is another thing. If you're coming to a con like C2E2, look carefully because you're going to have a lot of different vendors with a lot of different prices.
Yes.
I got Harley for just very little above cover price, which is really good. You got an even better deal.
Howard the Duck one for $2. I'm so mad I'm not getting my variant signed.
There was another vendor.
$2.
There was another vendor selling the same book for $11 at the con. So
because they knew people were going to be buying it
Yeah.
to have Chip sign it. So.
do your comparison shopping. You will be surprised at a con what you can get because everything's expensive once they have you in a convention center. They know they got you. The food's ridiculously expensive. If you're in Chicago, parking's expensive, and if you go to the wrong vendor, you may be spending more than you have to spend. So always double check and check all the different vendors that are there.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
We had something else for DC that we missed, didn't we?
I think that was the big thing. Was talking Power Girl. And
Power
Harley.
Girl, yeah, Power Girl and Harley.
There's gonna be a bunch of Robins. I think we already knew that, but that looks cool.
Yeah, there's going to be We Are Robins, which is one of the series coming out of Convergence.
Best question someone asked at that was like, looking at the cover of We Are Robins #2, was the film, now there's a film back in the 80s, was the film Warriors, did that have anything to influence it? And the answer was it had very much a lot to do with influencing it. So that's cool. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else we wanted to talk about? Well,
We will.
it's actually still recording us.
We'll have a lot of cosplay pictures up. We've got the 2 interviews in the can right now that we're going to post probably after the show's over.
Chicago fans are great.
Oh, they're amazing. And we should have more interviews tomorrow. We're trying to get some things lined up. It's going to depend on, hopefully the lines will be smaller on Sunday. They generally are. Because we're working around the fans. If like when I was talking with Josh Williamson today, we had to pause a few times for fans coming up. We're not going to interfere if you're coming up to get a book signed. And so
More fans first.
That's right. So that sometimes delays when we get an interview in, but we've got several potentials out there that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, it makes it really hard to get video interviews in, so we are getting everything recorded on audio. So if you don't already subscribe to Comics Week in Review, please subscribe. Go to iTunes, search Comics Week in Review. You will find all of our podcasts there, including this one, and including all of the interviews that Ed will be doing. They're all going to be on tmstash.com, of course. But please subscribe. It does help us out, and it's an easy way to get a dose of at least our opinions of what's happening on the comic book world and what we like and don't necessarily like. So that's my sales pitch for that. But yeah, hopefully we're going to hammer a lot of those out. So we have some people lined up. I'm sure we'll get Gail in.
I'm pretty sure we'll get Gail Simone in. We've talked with Gail and her husband, and they're trying to work us in for the afternoon. Those lines are crazy. We're trying to get Mark Waid lined up. Christy Blanche, who works with him at ThrillBit. If you're not on the ThrillBit app and you like digital comics at all, that's the best bargain in comic books. It's like $3.95 a month for all the titles, no matter what they are. And that's where the Damnation of Charlie Wormwood started, which went to print for a little while on Dynamite and is now about to cross over to IDW, where Mark Waid's also got Empire Uprising going, which that was a series that was on 10 years ago with DC. He's still got Barry Kitson with him, and that's coming out. It's already come out on Wednesday. He's got Insufferable coming out on IDW. Basically, Mark Waid is on just about every publisher you can think of, and some great books all the way around. Because I think Justice Inc. The Avengers is actually a Dark Horse book, but Dynamite gave them a chance to mention all of their projects. And they did ask him if he had another title, what would he want? And he would love to do a Quantum Leap book if he could
What
ever
was
get
the other
licensing.
one he said he wanted to do?
Buckaroo Banzai.
Buckaroo Banzai, and then they told him that someone already has rights to that, and he got up. He said, "Okay, well, I'm leaving," and he got up and walked away.
Yeah.
But he came back.
He came back.
While mentioning digital subscriptions, though, I also have to throw out. I know that's a really good one, and it's really cheap, and it's $3.95. I mean, come on, people.
Yeah.
Seriously, Marvel's doing another big Marvel Now push, as they have. They've been doing a lot of these big kind of marketing blitzes by giving people free access, and right now the big thing at the con is that they're giving away free access. Right now, I think it's a month for free if you sign up, but it probably
Marvel Unlimited.
Is it Marvel Unlimited or Marvel Now?
Marvel Unlimited.
Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
I forget how they're marketing it. But
20-some thousand or 16,000.
16,000 copies. What it comes down to is you get everything that's older than 6 months old, all the way back through the Silver Age.
Yeah.